Ghana has become the second African country to Uganda to pass the LGBTQ right restriction in the country. Well, here I got a clip of the minister in Ghana, Sam George, and hear what he got to say about it.
And saying no to LGBTQ, you want to lose $100 million in profit, pack up and go. Another company will come into Ghana and do business. Ghana is a fertile ground for business. Look, Africa must begin to assert our rights. We're not puppets and stooges of the West. Look at Uganda. Uganda's economy is not as big as Ghana's economy, but per the Economist Intelligence Unit, the EIU, the 2024 report, Uganda is going to have the sixth fastest growing economy in Africa in 2024. And it's just the sheer hypocrisy of America and the West. Doing business with Saudi Arabia and doing business with Qatar. Qatar spent 22 billion US dollars hosting the World Cup in 2022. 18 billion out of those 22 billion went to American and Western businesses. Qatar buys over $1 billion of military hardware every year from America. The punishment for homosexuality in Qatar is death. Nigeria passed a same-sex marriage bill as far back as 2015. In fact, your bill is more punitive than Ghana's bill. In Nigeria, the punishment in your law for same-sex marriage is 14 years imprisonment. The maximum in Ghana's law is just 3 years. Has Nigeria's economy collapsed? Has Uganda's economy collapsed? We need to begin to stand. The American economy would not run and the Western economies would not run without African raw material.
Well, America does business with Arab countries like Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and surprisingly, in those Arab countries, they also passed on the LGBTQ right restriction. By the way, to tell you about it, any gay phone in those countries, he or she is given a death penalty. But it's so funny how they don't want to work with the African countries like Ghana and Uganda because they passed on the LGBTQ right restriction in their country. Well, they also denied to give aid to African countries like Uganda, Ghana, and other. So here I got a clip of the African Americans living in the diaspora, and they're saying this.
A new anti-LGBTQ bill just passed in Ghana, and if you're an LGBTQ person in Ghana or you support the LGBTQ community in Ghana, you could go to jail. Being LGBTQ is already illegal in Ghana, and currently LGBTQ people can face up to 3 years in jail just for being LGBTQ. But with this new Human Rights and Family Values bill, it increases jail time of up to 5 years. Yeah. That's not all, y'all. That 5-year jail sentence wouldn't just apply to those who identify as LGBTQ, but also apply to anyone who was convicted of promoting or advocating for the LGBTQ community. This bill is not the law of the land yet, because Ghana's president still has to sign off on it. I'm not going to speculate what he's going to do, but he has said he will support something like this in the past. Speaking of support, a host of faith communities sponsored the bill.
Black Americans in the diaspora should stay away from Ghana, Kenya, and Uganda. The same Ghana that says Africans must build Africa, the year of return is the same Ghana that's taken IMF loans and said that Britain and them have a great shared values and future. The same Ghana that destroyed a house for allegedly being an LGBTQ resort, then they say, oh, it was because the owner sold it to another property.
The Ghanaian Parliament has recently backed an amendment to their infamous anti-gay bill which would make identifying as LGBT punishable by a 3 to 5 year prison sentence and a 10-year sentence for activists who campaign for LGBT rights. It's very fascinating how at this point the rest of the world has moved far past deliberations on sexual orientation. Most progressive countries are currently busy trying to fly us to Mars or the moon or even set up neural chips in our brains and hands, and here we are as Africans still debating on whether to put gay men in prison for consensual activities between adults in their private lives. This is the kind of stuff that in about 100 years people will look back on this time in history and wonder how humans could have been so ignorant and atrocious to one another. And for those who are screaming about cultural beliefs or differences, if your culture participates or encourages genocide of certain demographics, you are in a barbaric and backwards culture, and that is not the side to be on or defend. All of you are on the wrong side of history, and it is pretty sad that you may never even realize.
Well, you've all heard what's going on in Ghana and all that, but let me pass a question to my viewers out there. Let us see what you gotta say about this, the LGBT right restriction in Ghana. But let's listen what the citizens of Ghana they gotta say about it.
I think it's a good thing. In Ghana, we all know our stance. It's only a fraction of people who are against this, and I think it's good that they've passed it. Yeah.
Now, would you like the president to actually assent it into law as soon as possible?
Yeah, that's good. It should be as soon as possible. Yeah, it shouldn't waste time at all.
Oh, Charlie, me the bill. Once you know they infringe upon the right of anyone, it is okay. But if it's a bill that will infringe on the rights of the citizens or the citizens in the country, then the people who they do the LGBTQ thing, then I'm not in support of it. But if it no go affect them, then fine. Why not?
For that bill, I'm very happy it is being passed because it is been a long-awaiting bill that we Ghanaians are waiting that it should be passed. Because our culture and our norms, we need to follow what our forefathers taught us and what is in the Bible. Biblically, it is good that this bill has been passed.
Okay, so I think it's a good thing because I can't see any of my fellow ladies doing stuff like that. So it's good that they've actually passed a law to actually penalize those who are found doing that. Yeah, so that's my view.
The Ghanaians have got their rights depending on their religions, depending on their African culture. And well, in Africa, we can entertain such things. We can entertain the LGBT right, depending on our culture. But here's Kamara, the Vice President of the United States, where she was asked a question concerning the LGBT bill in the Ghanaian conference, and listen what she said about it.
Madam Vice President, you have made clear that the message of this trip is centered on a collaborative future. At the same time, the Biden administration committed to calling out any foreign government that advanced anti-gay legislation or violates human rights. All three of the countries that you are visiting on this trip have advanced or proposed anti-gay legislation. Ghana has proposed a bill that would imprison those that engage in same-sex intercourse. Gay sex remains a crime in Tanzania, and same-sex relationships are outlawed in Zambia. What have you said to the president and plan to say to other leaders on this trip about this crackdown on human rights?
I'll start. I have raised this issue, and let me be clear about where we stand. First of all, for the American press who are here, you know that a great deal of work in my career has been to address human rights issues, equality issues across the board, including as it relates to the LGBT community. And I feel very strongly about the importance of supporting the freedom and supporting and fighting for equality among all people, and that all people be treated equally. I will also say that this is an issue that we consider, and I consider, to be a human rights issue, and that will not change. The President and I had a conversation on this very topic, but the conversation was not about China as much as it is about the enduring and important direct relationship that the United States has with Ghana and with African nations.
As we've heard what the Vice President of America said, well, don't forget what the Minister of Ghana said. He said that if you support the LGBTQ bill, please pack your things and leave. But well, we also heard the President of Uganda. He told these Americans that if you're denying us aid because of the LGBTQ bill, please don't help us. We don't need your help. And according to me, an African, well, this is my opinion, like we got culture, and our culture doesn't support such things. We can't support being gay or lesbian. We can't do that. And according to me, as an African, well, in our culture, we can support the LGBTQ. We can support gay. We don't support lesbianism. We don't support such things because we got culture. And according to our religions, still we can't support it. Well, don't get me wrong, but if you got anything to say about this LGBTQ bill, you support it, say something in the comment section. You don't support it, you also say something in the comment section. And well guys, thank you for sticking around. Well, don't forget Men and Work is our YouTube channel. Keep on liking, subscribing, sharing, and leaving a comment in the comment section. I will catch you there. I will see you next time.